Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Gallant were issued arrest warrants from the International Criminal Court, and it likely will not result in the arrest of either of them. This has to do with where the International Criminal Court draws its authority. The International Criminal Court is comprised of 125 member states that opted in to being part of the ICC. And these member states volunteer to be the enforcer of International Criminal Court verdicts. The United States and Israel are both not included in those 125 states. Since its founding, the International Criminal Court has issued 59 arrest warrants with only 11 convictions. These convictions mainly occurred in less stable African nations, with an extradite agreement in place between an ICC member state and the state of interest, or utilizing the power of the state where the arrest warrant was issued directly. That means that a neighboring state that's a member of the ICC has some sort of agreement with the country where the arrest warrant was issued, where they can assist in extraditing the person who is being accused, or the government themselves is turning on the leader and working with ICC and its member states. There are also instances where people turn themselves in to the ICC due to some sort of external pressure, likely for the reason of having more sentencing control, as they did not believe they would evade the International Criminal Court for long. The punishment for a state refusing to arrest an ICC fugitive is very minimal, as the ICC draws all of its authority from the willingness and cooperation of these 125 states. And ICC matters are not completely insulated from global politics or the direct relationship between the accused nation and the member nations of the ICC. For example, Vladimir Putin is also a criminal court fugitive, and he enjoys healthy relationships with multiple members of the International Criminal Court. Russia, like Israel, is not part of the ICC. They have not agreed to their authority, and they have not agreed to uphold their verdicts. It becomes difficult to enforce an ICC verdict when the person in question enjoys support from their government, a stable government, good global relations, and is also not an ICC member themselves. In fact, there are no instances where a leader in a stable country, supported by their government with good global relations, was taken in by the ICC successfully, especially not one where the country itself was not even a member of the ICC. Now, of course, when I say good global relations, I don't mean universally beloved, but they're well connected. Now, the list of those 125 countries is extensive, and a majority of countries on the list do seem to, at least on paper, declare that they will support the ICC ruling on Benjamin Netanyahu and Gallant. There are a few ICC member states that are expressing either total opposition or ambiguity, such as Argentina. Their super far-right president, who is incredibly pro-Israel, has said that the warrant is illegitimate and denies Israel's right to defend itself, meaning Netanyahu likely has the ability to step into Argentina safely. Italy casted doubt, but had said that they would likely follow suit with what other ICC member states do with the verdict. Austria had declared the decision ludicrous, but nonetheless would uphold the ICC's declaration. Whether these states actually intend to arrest Netanyahu should he step foot in them remains to be seen. Of course, the easiest solution to this is that Netanyahu just never enters a state that isn't welcoming to him and doesn't even bother finding out if they mean it. Netanyahu enjoys support from the most powerful nation in the world, the United States, who is also not an ICC member, which means Netanyahu is free to have relations with the United States and enter the country without fear of being arrested by the International Criminal Court. There's also no telling what will happen with the incoming Trump administration in the event that one of these ICC countries does arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, as Trump does have a history of sanctioning countries that do not follow the United States agenda. With every country's personal relations with Israel and their personal relations with the United States, as well as the hawkish and aggressive Donald Trump entering soon, it's very unlikely that much is to come of this arrest warrant. Ultimately, this could end up strengthening South Africa's genocide case against Israel. Of course, the International Criminal Court is not indicting Netanyahu on charges of genocide, but rather human rights violations and war crimes. This is simply a warrant and not a case or hearing. But there's likely not much to come of it with respect to how grandiose of a move this is and how unprecedented it is for a nation so close to the United States to go through something like this. As relationships may erode between Israel and ICC states, that could reignite calls for arms embargo or overall trade embargo between the member states and Israel. But it doesn't seem likely, as there are multiple states that do not seem to agree with the verdict. And ultimately, although the ICC is a coalition of 125 states, those states are all individual actors who are not forced to uphold these verdicts. As far as ending the war, ending the genocide, this isn't nothing. It might be a little bit oversold in terms of what it's going to do for ending the war, but it is a good thing. It just might not be as good of a thing as it may sound when you first hear it. Not only does the ICC not have that much power, the member states do not seem too enthusiastic to enforce this arrest warrant. As Israel is not an ICC member, there is no extradition clause between Israel and member states. There's no scenario where they go into Israel and extract Netanyahu with the assistance of the Israeli government. Netanyahu enjoys support from his government as well as the strongest current superpower in the world. Israel and the United States are both not ICC members. Even if they do manage to get him in front of the court, there's no telling if they acquit him, give him a short sentence, or what happens. Right now, he's just skipping bail, essentially. Even getting Netanyahu to face the criminal court is going to be its own challenge, let alone actually putting him away. And without the support of the United States and with the aggressive Trump, nothing will come of this specific warrant, but the ramifications of this could potentially lead to something good. This war, this genocide, is not just Netanyahu's doing. And if they oust Netanyahu, there is 100 other Israeli war hawks who will assume his place and maintain the exact campaign he is doing. I remain hopeful that this will result in something good, but we have to remember the ICC is not very powerful, and Israel has a lot of other Netanyahus. All right, folks, that's all for today. I appreciate you guys tuning into my channel to watch. Please rate and subscribe. Comment below what you think is going to happen, your thoughts on the situation. Follow for more political analysis, explanations, rants, etc. This has been Cynicism, and I will see you guys around.